क्या हो गया? Yeah, there you go. Welcome back, everyone, to What a Player Concussion Sub Series. It has been forever, 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 Sanjay Dubey. We doing a podcast, but we chose a good day. We lost yet another home test match, dude. Home test match. This is becoming a habit. South Africa is touring India for a three-test match series. Eden Gardens. Uh, Everybody's talking about the pitch, but what we thought India is about to win a test match. South Africa just creamed their first win after 2010, and this is the fourth loss in the row at home after 3-0 New Zealand. And Sanjay Dubey, you were telling me before we went on air, you no longer have feelings. Can you please explain?
First of all, the reason I'm just going to give you a background of why we've not been doing stuff and what has led to this podcast being done. So, our CEO, he's been trying to get all his board of directors to try and get some time away. So, he's flown all the way from Bangalore to New York, and he's had to have a one-to-one session with Suman, which is why, and he's there somewhere in the background, which is why he's doing the session now. But all jokes aside, I think we were discussing this last year when India lost to New Zealand. It's like the landmark loss in terms of whitewash, right? The previous whitewash was South Africa 2000, 2-0, again a two-test match series. Rohit and Virat were still in the mix, but after they retired, and I don't know what it is, but we personally, I think I've watched less and less, although I did watch a lot of the England game. But this test match, I've not watched anything live. All my time has been consumed which with more important stuff, which is like who's being released, who's been kept, who's been retained, who's going to go for what, all those cash deals, so on and so forth. So as a fan, I think it's almost that I'm getting used to losing at home now, which is a bad thing because this will mean that the WTC finals will be very difficult for us to make with all the away tours, so on and so forth. But yeah, it's great for South Africa. You can't take anything away from them, but it also puts a big question mark on not just India's capabilities with having such a spin-friendly pitch with our batting and what Gautam Gambhir can deliver in white ball cricket, which unfortunately has been quite poor.
Yeah, it has been. So let's take a look at the scorecard as a recap. First test, Eden Gardens, South Africa batted first. They were cruising. They were cruising, I think 59 for no loss or something like that. And then Bumrah 5-4 and 159 all out in the first innings of South Africa. And then India batted next. 189 is what they scored with a lead of 30 runs. And then South Africa were reeling, I think 97 for 7 or something like that,
Yeah.
and ended up putting 153 with a 120 run target. And India, and India stumbled out for 93, absolutely humbled. And the best part is, uh, I think South African reporters on Twitter I was reading said that if India end up curating a spin friendly pitches, they are in for a surprise because South Africa will start to show them win. And India had four spinners. Like it's unexplainable. Washington Sundar is going number three in a test match. Sai Sudarshan is dropped when he did really well in England. Gautam Gambhir getting a slack for his tactics and coaching style. Gill injured, Pant coming as White's captain, Bumrah controversy. There's lots going on, but the results are unfortunate, Sanjay Dubey. So, how do you summarize some of the events which has happened? Let's start with Bumrah and Bauma. Do you think the commentary which was made by Pant and Bumrah is derogatory?
It gives the insight into Indian society that the word bona has got more time than the following word, right? You know what I mean? What he said. Bona is a perfectly fair word to describe a person of relatively smaller height, and it was being discussed for DRS. And so it's not something I would read it too much into. Much, much worse things have been said about different players, and it wasn't being derogatory. And you only have 15 seconds to make a decision, so on. And so I'm like, it's fine. Yeah, the stump mic caught it. It's not a good look, but it's fine. I think we've got much bigger issues to worry about. But yeah, some of the people criticizing them so much for it. Well, I'll just move on to something more interesting and more more important. But Gautam Gambhir, uh, first the selection. I understand, yes, Washington Sundar has been brilliant, so we try and get him to number three. You have to be careful with how we've ended up losing this match with only 30 runs. Now, in the past, every time we've created a very sprint friendly wicket, the opposition spinners have come in much closer. This guy Hammer, he was spinning so much, and he got more turn and more wickets than some of more traditional spinners like Keshav Maharaj. Even our spinners didn't were not as effective. Our fast bowlers were much effective. So I think there's a very important time in Gautam Gambhir's career, and there's a good reason to maybe look beyond him for test captaincy, because he did say that he did get what he wanted from the test pitch. But if his batters would have zero confidence in how they're going to bat through, then I don't know what you say. I would be surprised if his batters would have said that, yeah, we want this sort of a pitch, and then you ended up playing so many spinners. Like Washington is perfectly fine delivering stuff on his own, so maybe you wanted an extra batter. You drop Sai Sudarshan, which on form, maybe, yeah, fine. But you have to give a longer rope to players, especially if you want to build confidence in them and look beyond. Because this is not a combination we'll go through in some of the other conditions. I think we've probably taken it a bit too lightly, or we'll be able to just throw a dust bowl and be able to get away with it. So a lot of big question marks on Gambhir. You also have to think of Gill, whether we want to dump him all the formats and see, because one day as they he's playing, yes, T20s, whether we want to push him to play all the T20s, I'm not sure. He should concentrate on maybe test matches and one days. So his loss was a big reason as well, I would say. But the key piece here, if I was to just break it down, was that partnership between Bosch and Temba Bavuma. I think that's where most of our guys in the group chat as well. I think that's where we let the game slip away. 50-run partnership on that sort of a pitch. And that 50 odd run knock from Temba Bavuma is as good as 100 in any other game. So it was a very exciting game. I think it was relatively well attended as well. So yes, but you want to win. It's really poor. If New Zealand had not happened, maybe we look at it as a blip. But now I think there is something more technically wrong with how the team setup is and how we are going about post Ashwin and now even Jadeja is effective, but Jadeja and Ashwin winning us so many games, and then that New Zealand series happened. I think we need to figure out how we want to balance the side going forward and what sort of pitch we want. I
Is
think we
it
should have much flatter pitches.
is this really the bowling team which is which has to take responsibility, or is it the batters? I think this test match is up to the batters, right? I mean, look, if I give Gambhir the benefit of doubt, he's saying, yes, we have asked for a spin track, but batters have to own it up. If you can't score 120 runs, what good are you for the test match? If you think from his perspective, he's just being a shrewd coach in saying, bat well, which is not wrong. So, what aspects of it do you think it is wrong? I mean, if Washington Sundar would have scored a century, number three, we would have all turned back and said Gambhir is a genius.
Yeah, that's a fair point, but I'm looking at the consistent themes with the three matches we lost in New Zealand, and I'm clubbing this with the same as well, right? So Gambhir is the only only theme which is continuous. Everyone else is just coming and going. But yeah, 20-30 runs here and there would have been enough. But I don't know. We have Dhruv Jurel, Washington Sundar. These guys are not used to batting 1, 2, 3, 4 in test. You're almost putting too much pressure on Rishabh Pant. We had an outside chance with Akshar Patel trying to slog his way out of trouble. Um, but yeah, he has to take more responsibility than the others, is what I feel. But yeah, forget the batting as well. Where is the match being lost? All things considered, is that partnership. Okay, why couldn't we break that? You know, then that's the bowling aspect as well, because they were able to bowl us out for much more cheaper. So yes, it was a difficult batting pitch, but yeah, all in all, it's quite shambolic, and all the attention. It's easy to blame IPL and the retention at this point in time, but I think we have to look at where we want to go in Test cricket and the way we are playing. I think it'd be impossible to make it through the WTC finals.
And news also coming in that Shubman Gill with the neck spasm is potentially going to be out of Guwahati Test. So looks like Gill out, Pant is going to be captain. Who will you bring in, Sai Sudarshan or just another all-rounder?
That's a good point. If it is me, and if you want similar pitches, see, you don't need Akshar Patel. Washington Sundar, there's a good argument he can play as a batter. But he was doing really well at number 6 and 7. I know we're trying to look at future, maybe in overseas condition. Can he grab a number 3 spot? Then it frees up another batting position, and then you can play both Jadeja and Washington Sundar, which is what the long term objective would be. But you have to get two batters. Forget having a long tail. The long tail is not helping. You look at, I think Aditya made that point in our group. Our tail is contributing 3 4 runs. Their tail is just stretching this lead out. So I can understand why Gill and Gambhir are trying to have more all rounders, but it's not helping us in Test cricket as much, especially in home conditions. Yes, England series was great. Everyone scored a lot of runs, but that was one of the most flattest, you know, series of pitches we've seen in England for years. So, which is why even our spinners were struggling. Jadeja was very ineffective. He did a lot of runs with the bat, but bowling wise, everyone had to toil hard.
Yeah. And I also saw a tweet coming in that India in home tests under Shastri and Kohli, it was one loss. Under Dravid, Kohli was two losses. Under Kumble, one loss. But with Gambhir, 3-0 last time, and then this four. And Temba Bavuma post match also making a statement, which is not surprising that they have not come here to win a test match. They want to win a series. So, what do you think going into Guwahati? I am starting to get edgy that, wow, if you lose another India home test series, it's hard to come back. And Pujara, of all people, I don't know if you've been following socials this morning, is dropping truth bombs. He simply said, keep the transition aside. If you tell me if you go to England, South Africa, Australia, and lose there, I take the word transition. But if you are saying that India team is going transition and losing test matches at home, that's unacceptable. This is literally Cheteshwar Pujara saying. So what is
Absolutely,
your view?
so even in the 90s, when you remember, we would get trashed everywhere. But one thing that we never faced was losing at home. You rarely lost test matches. I mean, I can count all the test matches I remember losing before these four test matches, and there'd be probably 6 or 7 in the last 25, 30 years. So it is
Yeah.
very, very important that what Pujar said is absolutely right. We don't want this garb of transition to affect our home record, because that's where you're trying to build all the points and try to get into the WTC final and then hopefully win it, because that's the objective if you look at 2 year cycles. So all this transition is just BS. Um, and it's unfortunate that people will forget this. You have, say, a World Cup, win, let's assume, in T20 in February. No one's going to remember this. No one remembered the 3-0 loss and once we won the Champions Trophy, then the Asia Cup. So I think Test matches, unfortunately, one is not the most popular format, and two, I think it's very easy to forget if because it's all bilateral. And I wish this was a three-test match series. We could very easily lose this. This is only two test matches. Um, Guwahati, hopefully the pitch would be better, but if if Gambhir's sticking to his guns, which to be fair, if people are not delivering, they might not deliver enough on a flat track as well. Our bowling might struggle big time. They might score more runs than us. All they need is a draw. So you have to gamble and go with similar combination. Maybe get a get an extra batter or two, and then see where we go. Because it is very unfortunate that we're having such a golden phase in white ball cricket, but our test match, it's just losing momentum at home. And anyways, our overseas record has never been great. So tricky times ahead.
I did not realize until you reminded me it's a two test match series. So we are not winning the series, a draw or a loss, which is shambolic.
It is, and you had the West Indies. Yeah, they are a pushover. Our India A team will probably beat them, but I think it's not all doom and gloom because there's still a good side. You saw what the India side did against South Africa when the pitches were good. They chased to 90, 300. Rishabh Pant batted really well. I think that's what they need to probably focus on. When the pitches are good, I think there's enough quality in our bowlers to outbowl the other side. But when the pitches are poor, like it's a bit of a lottery as well. So chasing anything in the fourth innings becomes slightly difficult. But the bowlers, batters, if they are critical of themselves, they will accept that there were phases in the game where they should have closed this out, and we wouldn't have been trying to blame everything on Gautam Gambhir.
And I think, Sanjay, we have to do justice to the Kolkata test. We're going on and on. It's almost 16 minutes, and the test match got over less than 3 days. So I think we should cut, we should cut the first test review immediately and end it
Absolutely.
abruptly.
I must say though, I think it was a very good, very well attended test match, and I have no problems having 2 or 3 day test matches. This fight, honestly, tell me, Suman, how many balls have you watched live? Right? It's a very non-commercial event these days. It's very difficult to get eyeballs in. So test match is getting quicker. It doesn't really matter to me as long as it's interesting. People talk about it rather than a 5 day long dull game, which we rarely have these days. But yeah, I'm fine with having 2 3 day test matches. The batting quality has gone down, DRS, so on and so forth. I'm fine as long as India wins. I'm fine.
Yep. Hopefully, we'll bring you some positive podcast news when we go to Guwahati. We will see what happens. I mean, look, we always root for India. That's no doubt about it because I don't want people to think that these guys didn't talk cricket for like 2 months and all of a sudden becoming cricket expert. We are not, but that's the whole point, right? As Indian fans, like Sanjay said, from 90s we have been seeing losing at home has not. We don't know how it feels like up until now. So hopefully the team will pick the slack up next game and we come back one each. Losing the series will be disastrous, but hopefully not. This team is too good for that. Um, I personally feel it's okay. I mean, Gambhir's making the calls. At least he's owning up, saying that we've asked for the wicket instead of standing behind saying pitch wasn't great for Test cricket. So I think they know what they're doing. Might not be right, but we can't question their intent. That's the credit I think we should give to Gambhir.
Absolutely. I think we just sort of back him more and see where we go because he's done a lot of good things. He's taken tough calls. So you can't blame him when some things go wrong. I wish our red ball cricket was slightly more better balance in terms of the results we're getting because we're doing so well in white ball cricket. It's just almost overshadowing whatever we do in white ball in test matches.
Yep, excellent. So let's move on to a more exciting topic: IPL 2026 retention. Sanjay, the mini auction is scheduled to come up December 16th. We are doing live. I am speaking on behalf of Sanjay Dubey, Aditya, Vishak, and Modi and Shivam, but we'll be live watching the auction. It's in Abu Dhabi, December 16th. But Sanjay, some big releases, trade-offs, and retentions. So speaking of which, the trades are, I think the first one is Ravindra Jadeja getting traded for Sanju Samson, RR versus CSK. What is your honest view about it? I mean, I think people are making a big deal, but it's okay doing this kind of a trade.
Yeah, I think I have no issues with trade. Sometimes it does sort of makes me think whether having a pay cut, because Jadeja has taken a pay cut from 18 to 14 crores, whether if he was in the open market, he would get that or not. But it's perfectly fine within the realms and rules of how the trading window is supposed to be. And it works, if anything, probably better for RR than than CSK, in my opinion. RR, as soon as Sanju Samson got injured, and then Riyan Parag has been their preferred choice for captain. So and they've unearthed a super talent, potential generational talent in Vaibhav Suryavanshi. So I don't think they'll miss him as much as maybe Jadeja would be missed at CSK. But for CSK, just imagine the last time CSK won an IPL was when Jadeja hit those winning runs, 2 balls, 10 runs of Mohit Sharma. I cannot imagine any other player in any other franchise who's still super fit being released in this way or being traded off. So I think it's almost a maturing of the league as well, where the emotions are going to be put aside and we have to look beyond and see what's in the best interest. Um, you have a lot of good talent at CSK. They've released so many players apart from Jadeja, obviously, and then Sam Curran, and then they've cleaned the deck for everyone. They've got rid of Devin Conway. They've got rid of Rachin Ravindra, which was a surprise to me. So a lot of things have moved on from CSK, which is very unlike CSK because we only had a big auction year last year. I can hear you.
Speaking on mute, two teams are going with a bigger purse. The first one is KKR, who are going with 63.4 crores. And then CSK, like Sanjay mentioned, has freed up to have 40 crores and set to rebuild. So both the teams, I mean, for KKR, it was expected Venkatesh Iyer is going to go into the pool. But Andre Russell, did that surprise you?
Very surprised because one is I guarantee you now there's no way Andrew Russell is going to go for any less money than what he's been released for. That's the one thing. Two, in mini auction, you see how the prices get inflated. For teams who only have 2 or 3 slots to fill, they will ensure the prices are pushed up. So it doesn't matter whether you have 60, 70 crores, it's much rather better to retain a player because he was at least delivering with the ball. Andre Russell, you think of Andre Russell, you think of KKR. So I'm really surprised and disappointed. But CSK, he could go to CSK and he would do really well at CSK or any other franchise would love to have 100 Russell. So I think what will happen is when um, Cam Green comes up, everyone will push the price up and almost guaranteed KKR will get Cam Green. And then you would have some other random team pick up Andre Russell. So it is a bit of a shock because not just they've released Andre Russell, they've released so many other players who were not really expensive. The big surprise for me was Quinton de Kock. He was wicket keeper. They'll need to find a wicket keeper now. He was doing really well. Came back from retirement, really hot form. Some surprise with that as well. But I'm guessing that Ankush Raghuvanshi will get more game time. They'll probably be still on the hunt for a captain. Whether Ajinkya Rahane gets to be the captain again, I'm not really sure because he almost blocked up the opening couple of slots for Ankush Raghuvanshi. So it'd be very interesting because there are not many top order Indian players. They might get Venki Iyer back for maybe 8, 9, 10 crores. So interesting. I think KKR have a effectively it's the big auction, not a mini auction for them.
Okay. Let's talk about your team, Lucknow Super Giant. The first trade-off is you guys took in Arjun Tendulkar and swapped in the Lord Shardul Thakur and then released Akashdeep, Ravi Bishnoi, and David Miller. Those are quite big names, man.
Yeah, so Akashdeep expected lines, frees up a lot of money. I was really surprised with Shardul Thakur. Shardul Thakur wasn't picked by anyone. Then Zahir was there. He was picked as a backup for Mayank. I think he was injured, so I was surprised that he was let go. But on the positive, at least Arjun Tendulkar might get a game or two here because in Mumbai he was warming the benches. So And Shardul Thakur, I think he would have gone for easily 7-8 crores in my opinion. I think he'll do really well in Mumbai with swinging conditions, and his batting's excellent, especially in the shorter format. He can easily bat at number 8. Um, David Miller, yeah, we had too many foreigners, and we stumbled on to excellent opening partnership, Markram and Akram and Bison. So that will continue. So, and we have Puran as well. So David Miller didn't make sense to retain him. I think Shami is a good buy, good trade with SRH because Indian paces are very difficult. I think I know you. To be honest, at 250 in in Hyderabad, it much rather be. And again, Shami, if he was to go in the auction, he'd get more money. Indian paces are difficult, and it's a mini auction. And I think the big question mark was on Mayank Yadav. So hopefully, the fact that they've retained him, hopefully they think that he'll be fit because he could potentially be a generational talent. With Bishnoi, it's a disappointing for Lucknow because he didn't go on to the next level. They showed a lot of faith in him, buying him when the new team was formed, then retained him for good money. But he didn't step up to the next level. But I can easily see him doing exceptionally well in another franchise. So good luck to him. I think if he'd much rather be better off being in another franchise, and he'll go for more money than what he went to. I think he'll go at 13, 14 crores easily, and he'll do well. Hopefully, an India call up. But the very fact that we have Digvesh Rathi, who's leading the attack, that's the only reason why they've been able to let go of Bishnoi. So I think a lot of the trades have been on expected lines. I'm hoping that the injuries can be kept away and Mr. Pant is in red hot form because if he clicks, I think the team will have a different shape.
Absolutely. And other notable releases from Sunrisers are Abhinav Manohar, Adam Zampa, Rahul Chahar. So they'll be on a lookout for a good Indian fast bowler to replace Shami and a highest quality spinner. Right now in the pool, only Ravi Bishnoi is available. So I'm pretty sure they will push for buying Bishnoi. I'm just hoping and praying that Kavya doesn't end up with a Venkatesh Iyer bug because he's just useless.
But I think, and this is where I don't think they've traded. They could have easily got Bishnoi if they had traded because it was a cash deal, I think, for Shami, right? So whether they wanted more money or whatnot, I don't know, because there was a similar price point, and I think he would have. So they might probably be looking beyond Bishnoi. I'm not really sure, but they do need a
There is
quality
nobody in the
spinner.
pool who is of a quality, unless they want to go for a Zampa for a lower price and right to
Zampa
match.
might not even be in the mix, is what I'm hearing. So I'd be surprised, but yeah, whatever they decide, they just at least their core is set. So I think if this is what I like about us, they have not panicked. There were rumors that they might release class and whatnot. Whatever has happened in this section of the of the release, retention, and potentially the mini auction, I think their style of play will remain the same, which is what they should do because that's their best way of because they you have to give them a couple of years to see how it goes. So Travis Sheikh and then Ishan Kishan, Klassen, just so much so much in there for players and with a bit of luck with some of the newer players, I think they'll do well. So one good spinner, you can easily unearth the new talent. 1 or 2 years, you can. Who was that spinner you had last year? It was a really good guy. I'm forgetting his name. So one or two of
Rahul
those guys.
Chahar,
There's another guy who was being played
Markande.
ahead of. No, I'm forgetting the name, but yeah, they need a good spinner, and I think they've got a decent side to push.
Yep, fair enough. So pretty much all other teams are status quo. I mean, no podcast about IPL will be complete without talking about RCB. They they released Liam Livingston, who was a pretty good contributor last year. So not sure what their thought process was. What do you think of RCB's score so far?
I think it was probably a call of they're not getting much from him in any case. And I won't be surprised if somehow Glenn Maxwell makes his way back, unless he decides not to come into the auction at all. Because I think people have called his bluff now. He's no longer going to go into like 10 crores and stuff. So it'd be middling in terms of 7, 8 crores maybe in a mini auction. Um, Cam Green, I think it'd be too expensive for them. They've got a settled side. So what you have to remember is they could have easily got Venki Iyer. So my bets are they'll try and exhaust the purse and try and get Venki Iyer in the auction. They could have got 20 Venki Iyer for 23 crores, and we would have had a similar conversation probably for what we're having with KKR. So that's KKR has helped RCB win the tournament than anyone else.
If RCB goes for Venkatesh Iyer, there'll be a massive meltdown in our groups because even last time RCB almost bought, and Vishak's video is etched in our memories and history forever. He was
The
just
only
literally
good thing,
praised. He was
the
just
only good thing
literally
is
praised.
sorry. The only good thing is they only have 16 crores, right? So they can't go up to 23, 24 crores. Wenky Air is a good buy for the right price point, right? It's unfair on the poor guy. Like we shouldn't be envying that sort of money, right? It's not him who asked for that money. Two teams wanted him, so fair. It's just too much pressure to take on. But he'll be a perfectly good player for 5, 6, 7 crores. I think he'll easily go for that money.
Makes sense. Makes sense. Excellent. So
There's one
that
more team.
was.
One more
Mhm.
team. So
Go ahead.
Punjab, want to quickly talk about. They released Glenn Maxwell. They also released English. English is apparently not going to be available, so they might be on the lookout for maybe a keeper. But this is a very strange mini auction where Punjab will be out of action, basically, right? Because they've done so well. But it is the Indian Premier League. There is more confidence probably in some of the youngsters who will come through in the rounds. Because last year we saw pretty much every team had one or two youngsters we've probably not seen or heard of previously, and they've done really well. So I think people are more confident that they will get some talent here and there. I think the whole emotional aspect of I want to retain this player, blah blah, it's going to go away, which is probably a good thing. All I do not like is the cash deal because then it's just going from one team to the other. You could have a player like this Sherfin Rutherford going to um, is it Sherfin Rutherford? Am I taking the right name? Going from GT to
That's
Mumbai,
right.
the left-hander, right?
That's
Yeah.
right.
So 2 crores or an all-cash deal. There's no way he's going for that money in a mini auction. So I know the franchise is going to pay a lot more money, so on and so forth. But GT looks like to be a feeding ground of getting new talent, getting them really set up, and then selling it to MI. That's going to be their feeder franchise, it seems. So it'll be interesting.
Yeah. Yeah. About the trade deals, I had a question for the premier off spinner of India, Ravichandran Ashwin. If he ever listens to our podcast, we'll be privileged. But I did ask him a question on Twitter, Sanjay. Hopefully, I'm hoping that he gets a chance to read and respond because I was listening to one of his Ash Ki Baat with Vimal Kumar recently. He thinks these trades before the auctions are really, really good for the league, which is an interesting perspective. But my question, which always has been, and I never got a clear answer, and that's what I'm hoping Ashwin can help me is if teams are exchanging these players and trading off with cash and things like that, what is the point of a mini auction or a large auction? Don't you think that other franchisees are at a disadvantage? Because the pool of players is not going to be high quality if you just keep exchanging. Might as well scrap auction. But I'm interested to hear what Ashwin will think, though.
Yeah, I'll tell you what I think. I absolutely agree with you. I think it's pointless to have mini auction if you're going to have all cash deals. Trade deals, I understand. You're exchanging players. You're still having some value you see, and then your purse is affected accordingly. You cannot just give up a player and free up cash without having that option to go into the auction pool because the value of the player is much more. What's the point of having a purse, a limit? Because that's the whole idea, right? That's how the league is different from many others like football or wherever, where you can easily have if there was no limit, then yes, this is a way to exchange players. We don't need an auction. You go and try and buy the player for as much money as possible. You don't need to see it. But because there is a limit, that's how the league has been competitive. I can foresee 15, 20 years down the line, some of the franchises who have a lot of money, they'll be able to go and do all cash deals all along. So without having a this idea of everyone's got a budget to work around, everyone will be making the trade deals along during the leading up to any mini auctions and so on and so forth. So yeah, I think it's a very interesting point. I would like the cash deals. Trade deals are fine because it helps both purposes. Imagine Sanju Samson just being released on an all cash deal for CSK, right? But at least there's an exchange. CSK have had to give up someone of quality, not just one, two people. So yeah, I'm not a big fan, but I guess there'll be more in insights that'll keep coming from people like Ashwin and so on and so forth. Cryptic messages. So I think next time, Suman, you should ask him in Tamil or something very cryptic. He might answer that. You're on mute.
Speaking was on mute as usual. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, that was pretty much what we were keen to also get out. But yeah, Dubey, it was nice to get back into cricket. Clearly, both of us are rusty, as you could see. Most of us, do tell us where we need to get better at. But our focus will be during Christmas holidays. We will do this more often. And Ashes is starting in a couple of days. So we'll be back. We'll be back with our energy and the knowledge and the memes. But until then, thanks for following us and thanks for supporting us. Sanjay Dubey, short notice pod. I think we did okay. We did better than India in a South Africa test match, I think.
Yeah, it's our batting lasted in few minutes than this, but yeah, good to catch up.
All right. Enjoy the rest of the Sunday and talk later, everyone. Bye.